Hey everyone, welcome to another SUPboarder video. This video is all about the brand new board from Honu, the Honu Sorrento 11'3". This is the baby brother or sister of the bigger 12'6" Sorrento, very popular touring board. This is a scaled down, smaller board, thinner board that's going to get a lot of lighter paddlers on the water doing different types of paddling. In this review, I'm going to be looking at the design, the features of this board, what this board was like on the water, giving you obviously the things to be aware of, and hopefully help you understand if this board is right for you at the end of it. So if you're interested in that, watch on. As always, YouTube, subscribe if you find our videos useful, give this video a like if you found it really helped you, and also check out SUPboardermag.com, our main website, and SUPboarder Pro, the next level of SUP content, where you can ask us infinite number of questions about certain techniques, certain equipment, everything to help you get better at SUP or foiling. So this being the baby version of the 12'6" Sorrento, this one is 11'3" long, 30 inches wide, and it's 4.7 inches thick. This weighs 8.9 kilos with the fin when we weighed it, and it retails at £745, 890 euros, or $790. The package you get with this board is just a bag and leash, so you do not get the pump or the paddle. A lot of you out there are really liking that type of package. Keeps the price down, and many of you have already got good quality paddles and good quality pumps, so you don't need any more. The quality of the bag and leash is very high. The coiled leash is a leash I would happily take downwinding, doing way more adventurous paddling with, and the bag is a comfortable wheeled bag. It's not too heavy overall, well padded on the back and shoulder area, and it easily fits the board in as well. We've recently just reviewed the Bondi from Honu, and that did very, very well. One of the reasons that did so well was the construction, and the construction on this is virtually the same. So you've still got the X-woven internal drop stitch, you've still got 2 layers of outer PVC making up the board, and you've got those welded rails with the carbon bands down the side of the board. The only difference in construction between this one and the Bondi is the Bondi had the extra carbon stringers going at the top and the bottom of the board. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because I want to jump straight into the deflection test of this board. We pumped this board up to 20 psi and we put it in our deflection test, which is where we put it on a gap of 1.5 meters apart, and we put a weight of 75 kilograms on the center of the board, and then we measure how much the board bends. Now this board, 4.7 inches thick, pumped to 20 psi, had a deflection of 12 millimeters. Now that is a very strong deflection, possibly one of the strongest in that thickness of board. Now I'm going to touch into the Bondi. That actually had a stiffer deflection at a thinner thickness. So it was 4 inches thick, but that dropped 10 millimeters. Now the reason that is, it must be due to the extra carbon stringers at the top and the bottom of the board, but it shows you how stiff both these boards are compared to other boards on the market. An averagely good 4.7 inch thick board will probably be around 15 millimeters, so this is well above that, and 12 millimeters is a very stiff board. Now looking at the outline shape of the board, you'll see the 30 inches in width it has is right around your standing area, if not slightly in front of your standing area. And it does sort of keep that width back towards the tail. The nose of the board is pulled in, but it's very much pulled in at the last sort of metre and a half of the board. So there is a good amount of width to most of this board. Looking at the rocker line shape of the board, flat from the tail all the way up to just maybe the last metre up towards the nose, where it starts to get a bit more nose kick. Well, looking at what's on the board, well, up at the front there, you've got a relatively large bungee setup for putting cargo underneath. You've got a built-in RAM mount here. You can attach your GoPro, various other attachments, GPS, that sort of stuff. As you come back, you've got a padded carry handle in the center, And around that carry handle, you've got a nicely finished off EVA deck pad, diamond grooves, and the white lines in the deck pad are all cut in nicely, and it does separate the deck pad out as well. Moving towards the back, you have a raised EVA pad, a kicker, which is great for when you're doing step back turns, and the deck pad goes right to the back, and actually it's nice how it's finished off. The valve is sort of incorporated into the deck pad, and also there's a small bungee setup for putting some stuff on the back, and you've got your leashing point as well. Looking at the fin box and the fin that the Sorrento comes with, it comes with a 9.4-inch touring swept back fin. It's a relatively wide fin as well, so it's going to give you a bit more stability than a thinner base fin. The fin box is a split fin box, and that fin box will still take any other US base fin as well. Now let's move on to what it's like to use on and off the water. So first off the water, the first thing you'll notice is it does roll up very small because of that split fin box, and the material is nice and supple. When you inflate your board with whatever chosen pump you're going to be inflating it with, you'll find that the carry handle is nicely balanced in the middle of the board. It's such a basic thing, but it does make a massive difference. And then when you're carrying the board down to your paddling location, because it's only 4.7 inches thick, it's quite easy to carry and easy to get under your arm. That's a really big point for lighter, shorter riders with not so much of an arm reach. When you get on the water, the stability of this board will feel fairly generous because it's got that 30 inches going up towards just in front of your feet. Obviously, a 32-inch wide board will give you more stability, but the advantage of it being 30 inches wide is it's going to be so much nicer to paddle. This is quite a nice board to paddle at a good pace. So it's not a race board shape, but it has got a nice amount of glide to it. That fin positioned at the back of the board gives you a good amount of straight line tracking as well. Also, if you go on a wider board, like a 32, 33 wide board, you've got to put your paddle further out, away from your shoulder, to get the paddle in the water down the rail. So bringing the width in of the board will make it easier to paddle. Obviously going down to a 26, 28 is going to be even easier again, but you're going to get a little bit less stability because of that as well. The 4.7 inch in thickness makes you feel nice and connected to the water. If you are paddling the bigger Sorrento, the 12'6", which is by 6 inches thick or 5.9 inches thick, you are going to be standing much higher out of the water. And it does make you feel a little bit more detached from that sort of paddling experience. Definitely a lot of the lighter riders, sub 85 kg and down, really like being on the thinner base boards if they can. Not only does it feel nicer to paddle, but also if there's a bit of wind that's hitting on the rails of the board, it being a thinner base board, it's not going to get affected by the wind so much, and the chop also. Talking about the chop, the board does handle the chop really well with a small amount of nose rocker up at the front. And the board isn't that thick either, so if the water wants to come over the board, it doesn't really slow you down. So it's got a good combination of overall board thickness and a little bit of rocker to paddle in all water conditions. When it comes to turning this board around, because it's not that long, you can turn it around in a full step back turn, or you can turn it around with the sort of cross nose turn, which is where you're bringing your paddle over the board and doing a big sweep stroke. It will turn relatively quickly. And also, if you do want to get back to do your step back turns, you've got that large EVA pad there, which is a great reference point of where you put your back foot. So it's a very easy and maneuverable board, definitely being 11'3". The bungees at the front and the small ones at the back do allow you to put gear on the board, and this board very much could be a board you could take on a little mini adventure. You could even take it on for a few overnighters as well, as long as you were packing a bit lighter. But if you did want to be a little bit more adventurous with this board, probably the only negative to this is it hasn't got a handle up at the front or at the back. Now that would add weight, so I can understand why they haven't got them on there, but it is the only observation or negative we come up with this board. Although the back bungee system, which looks very small and probably looks like you couldn't use anything by putting your flip-flops on it, it actually does double up as a handle as well for launching the board. Now that's something we didn't realise until we started using it, whether they meant to design it like that, but it is a good little double up system as a handle and a little back bungee as well. I know there'll be loads of you out there who will be wishing this had a little bit more of a bungee setup, maybe even something at the back, maybe a little thing that you could somehow get some bungees over the back there to do store some stuff at the back, because there is room here, and if you're a lighter paddler, this could be a very transportable, easy board to use when you go touring. Looking at a bit more information about the brand Honu, they are a brand that are constantly bringing and trying to get their environmental impact down. They have a lot of good carbon initiatives. They are using recyclable based materials or papers or recyclable biodegradable plastic bags with the packaging that comes with this board. The board comes with a 4-year warranty as standard. And we have only heard good things about the customer service they've given to you all out there as well. If you want to find out more about the brand, definitely watch the full video I did with Mark Travers, the brand CEO, man behind Honu. He's done a huge amount to these boards, designing these boards and the materials they put on these boards. So if you want to find out a bit more about that, definitely watch that video. Now I want to finish off with a summary, who this board will best suit, and look at the value for money. This is the type of board that's going to be able to handle all types of paddling conditions, from mirror flat water to open, rougher seas. You could even catch a little wave with this board as well. For as paddler weights are concerned, up to about 95 kg, I would agree you could get on this board because it is very stiff. But if you are 85 kg and down, you're really going to get the most out of this board, especially if you're going to put some weight on it as well, and it being that 4.7 inch thick. You can easily do everything with this board. As I said, from flat water paddling to light touring. If you wanted to take it a bit more multi-day touring, you might have to mod it a little bit and add some back bungees, but I could see if you are a lighter paddler wanting a board to paddle further and faster than your general all-round 10.6, but you don't want to go to your full 12'6" or 14-foot long boards, this size of board, and this board particularly, the Honu Sorrento, is one that you need to see and try if you can. We personally have been using this board a lot. We took it on a road trip away with us to Scotland. We've paddled it locally here, so it's been one of our go-to boards lately, just because it does everything very well. Looking at the value for money, well, you can't really beat the value for money, I don't think. You're getting a very good quality board. The proof of that is in the deflection test, the materials that are in and on this board, welded rails, 4-year warranty. So you do get a lot of board for the money. It's not as cheap as the cheap price point ones from the supermarket, but it's nothing like a supermarket board. This is a board that's built to last. So if you're a lighter to moderate weight paddler wanting to do all types of paddling, from paddling further to putting the kids on the front, this one does tick all the boxes. The 11.3 Sorrento is a great all-round board that a lot of you out there are really going to enjoy paddling this year. So I hope this review has helped you understand if this board is right for you. If you've already got this board, please, we would love to hear your comments in the comments below. Remember, the Ask the Expert service is there on SUPboarder Pro to make sure you get on the best equipment for you or learn the best technique. Until I see you on another SUPboarder video, my name's Ruben and happy paddling.